Wind howled like crazy. Rain poured down like a waterfall. At the edge of a cliff, I swallowed a mouthful of spit mixed with blood. Staring dead ahead, 3 guys in blood-red robes at the foundation stage. Mid-grade ones formed a circle around me. Their killing intent was almost solid. Wenwu,
hand over what you got,
and we'll let you go in one piece. I ignored him, slowly opening my left hand caked in mud and gore. In my palm lay a pill the size of a dragon's eye. In the southern cultivation world, this treasure only existed in legends. 9 marks. Impossible. You're just a nobody wandering cultivator.
How could you make something like this?
Who said I made it? Without hesitation, I tossed the god-level pill into my mouth. It melted on my tongue. Massive energy exploded inside me. Thunderclouds gathered overhead. The foundation tribulation was coming. I gripped the gourd close to my chest, feeling the new power flow through me, and laughed. But that was 30 years ago. 30 years back, I couldn't even afford the cheapest cheap pill, let alone swallow an immortal pill on the spot. My name is Wenwu, but I suck at both arts and martial. Just the most nobody among 3,000 outer disciples farming herbs. At 15, I got the lowest grade spirit root. They barely took me in, and threw me into this herb garden halfway up the mountain. The cultivation world is brutal. No talent, no backing. Every day before dawn, I had to haul water to drench the plants. Each plant sold for 2 spirit stones. I had to hand over 50 a month. Only what was left went to food and training resources. I'd been farming here for 3 years.
Wenwu! What are you still dawdling for? If you don't fetch water soon, you won't be able to use your spirit technique today!
Coming. I was still only at the peak of Qi condensation first level. 3 years just to get from mortal to Qi condensation. Slow enough to make you lose hope. If I didn't break through to level 2 by year's end, I'd be kicked down the mountain and become immortal again. Having tasted immortality, falling back to the mundane world was worse than death. That evening, I took advantage of the dwindling twilight and crept to the edge of Broken Soul Forest to pick wild bitter leaf hemp. This herb wasn't just bitter, but chewing it helped ease the bruises from hauling water. The Broken Soul Forest was off limits, home to high-tier demon beasts. I only dared to stay at the very fringe. I bent down to pull the grass, and a thick stench of blood hit my nose. My heart tightened. I instinctively dropped flat and held my breath. In the cultivation world, being too curious gets you killed fast. After a full half hour, still no movement around, just crows cawing. I plucked up my courage and crawled towards the blood smell, pushing aside the bushes. I spotted 2 bodies. One was a man in dark clothes, his chest blown wide open and a gaunt old Daoist, with a broken sword lodged in his neck. Clearly a brutal fight. They'd taken each other out. My heart pounded wild. This was definitely a kill for treasure scene. My first instinct was to bolt, but I eyed their empty storage pouches. Remembering the year-end assessment, I gritted my teeth and edged closer. Apology. You 2 seniors. Since these are lifeless objects, might as well benefit a living soul like me. Muttering under my breath, I searched swiftly. Too bad the dark-clothed man's pouch was shattered. The old Deus didn't even have one. Flat broke. I sighed, cursing myself for being scared over nothing. Just as I got up, I caught sight of something clutched tight in the old Taoist's stiff hand.
I pried his fingers open with force. It was a palm-sized gourd. Neither metal nor wood.
Dull gray with pits. Like the cheap gourds you buy for a few copper coins at the mortal market. I picked it up and shook it. It rattled inside, as if filled with tiny grains. Acting on instinct, I stuffed the gourd into my ropes, quickly covered the bloodstains with dirt, and ran out of Broken Soul Forest without looking back. I had no idea then how this ordinary gourd would completely change a bottom-level mortal's destiny. Back to the drafty wooden shack. The sky was already pitch black. I slammed the door shut and bolted it right away, then flipped the broken wooden table against it for extra backup. Leaning against the wall, gasping for air, my back was completely soaked in cold sweat. At this level, a cultivator's life is worth less than trash. If someone caught me messing with a dead guy's stuff, any random outer disciple could crush me and take my loot. I sat in the dark for what felt like forever. After my heartbeat finally calmed down, I carefully pulled out that gourd. The shack didn't even have a lamp, so I had to rely on moonlight leaking through the cracked window to check my hard-earned prize. It wasn't metal or jade. It felt like a smooth gray stone with worn edges, but it was super light. I sent a tiny wisp of spiritual energy into it, only for it to vanish like a stone dropped into the ocean. Not even a ripple. Not a single trace of spiritual power. Doesn't even count as the lowest tier artifact. Could it just be some ordinary drunkard's gourd? But that old man held onto it even in his last breath. That's definitely not normal. No celestial aura or medicinal scent. A sharp burn stench hit my nose instead, like overcooked medicine residue. I quickly poured it into my palm, and 3 blackened pills rolled out with a rustling sound. Taking a closer look, my heart sank halfway. These were junk. Failed products from alchemy. No medicinal effect at all, just toxic waste and scorched materials. Eating these could clog your meridians at best, or outright kill you at worst. No wonder he was too broke for a storage bag. Turns out he was a rogue cultivator who messed up his alchemy practice. All he had were deadly poisons. I was about to toss the gourd away when something unexpected happened. Tonight the moon was full. A beam of moonlight shone down. The moment it touched the moonlight, a faint silver glow appeared on the surface of the gray gourd. If it wasn't so dark out, I would have missed it completely. I rubbed my eyes and leaned in for a closer look. It was real. The moonlight turned into a silver thread, slowly but steadily seeping into the rough skin. As the moon essence flowed in, the gourd suddenly felt a little warm and smooth. It was absorbing the moonlight. I froze in shock. Anything that can absorb natural essence on its own has got to be some kind of legendary treasure. My fingers started trembling. A crazy idea flashed in my mind. This gourd absorbing moonlight. What the hell is it actually for? I eyed the charred useless pills, then checked the gourd breathing in the moonlight. Carefully, I stuffed those dud pills back into the gourd, tightened the deadwood stopper, beat and put it away, but set it right in the brightest patch of moonlight. That night I didn't train, nor did I sleep. I stared like a stone statue, not daring to blink, until the sky turned pale with dawn. The moon faded away. The gourd's silver glow dimmed completely, turning back into that junk no one would glance at. My hands trembling, I opened the deadwood stopper again, pulled out the inner cork. Instinctively, I held my breath, dreading the smell of burn and fire poison, but there was nothing. The room was dead quiet. Instead, a faint elusive scent wafted. The fragrance carried pure herbal essence. I breathed it in. The fatigue from staying up all night faded a bit. I swallowed hard, tilted the gourd into my palm. I locked my eyes on those 3 pills. My breath instantly turned heavy. The originally pitch-black pitted dud pills were gone. Now lying in my hand were 3 pills with a pale green body, smooth surface, even a faint sheen on them. I had seen this kind of pill in the outer sect market of Greenwood sect. These were qi coagulation pills, the basics for early-stage qi cultivators to refine their skills. The most commonly used pills. A low-grade qi coagulation pill in the market costs 3 low-grade spirit stones. For a bottom-tier herb farmer like me, who only saved a few herbs a month, 3 spirit stones was a fortune. But what shocked me more, these 3 qi coagulation pills in my hand had even color, not a trace of impurity. These were definitely not ordinary low-grade pills. At least medium grade, maybe even quality of high grade. This gray gourd could refine waste pills. A wild thought exploded in my mind, making my scalp tingle. No wonder that lean old man was a rogue cultivator. He dared to carry so many life-threatening dud pills. He must have stumbled upon this gourd by chance, discovered its secret, was about to use moonlight to turn trash into treasure. Unfortunately, he never got to enjoy this fortune. Died in the Shadowfall woods, leaving it all to me. I trembled with excitement, but I was still a farmhand who climbed from the bottom for 3 years. Knowing the more you can celebrate too soon at times like this. There's just too many crazy tricks in the cultivation world. What if it only looks like a spirit gathering pill on the surface, but hides fire poison inside, and eating it will just mess you up inside? I carefully pulled out a rusty little bone knife from under my bed, and on that pale green pill surface, scraped off a tiny bit of powder. Then, I used my fingertip to dab that powder, and cautiously placed it in my mouth. Even though it was just a tiny speck of powder, the moment it hit my tongue, it turned into a pure and gentle warm stream, flowing straight down my throat to my dantian. No burn of fire poison, no rough feel of impurities, just pure clean spiritual energy. The spiritual energy I usually absorb meditating all night long couldn't even match this tiny powder in purity. It's real. That dusty gourd really can, after soaking up moonlight, turn deadly waste pills back into high-quality refined ones. I clutched the 3 spirit gathering pills tightly in my hand. My eyes felt a bit blurry. 3 years. I've worked like an ox in the spirit herb garden for 3 years. Got nothing but cold stares and mockery. Because my spiritual roots are thin and mixed. I absorb spiritual energy 10 times slower than normal folks. And the year-end set test is coming up soon. If I'm still at chi refining layer 1, I'll get kicked out for good. But not anymore now. With these 3 mid-grade or higher spirit gathering pills, I'm dead sure I can break through the bottleneck of layer 2 fast. I took a deep breath, forcing down the wild joy in my heart. The sky was already bright. Then I put the 3 pills into a small jade bottle and tucked it close to my body. I can't go into seclusion right now. If I skip watering the star snake grass today, it'll catch the supervisor's eye immediately. A lowly farmhand suddenly going into seclusion. Way too suspicious. Enough for now. Alright, this is my one and only shot at survival. Like I always do. I slip into that dirt-stained outfit, hoist up the water buckets, push open the broken wooden door of a straw hut.
Yeah. What? You're up pretty early today. What? Had a change of heart? Planning to work extra for the sect before you bail at year end?
Senior brother Wang, you're joking. I Tianzi Yudong just gotta fly before the flock. Grind a bit more. He let out a cold snort and ignored me, turning back to brew his own elixirs. He didn't even notice. Me with my head down, I sit cross-legged on that stiff wooden plank bed, forcing myself to take a few deep breaths until my heartbeat calms down. Then carefully pull out that jade bottle with 3 grams of condensation pills. Pop the cork and tip out a pale green pill. That faint herby scent hits my nose again, perking me right up. It's all or nothing now. I don't hesitate anymore. Tilt my head back and swallow that mid-grade or better condensation pill. The pill dissolves on my tongue. No need to chew. It turns into a warm essence sliding down my throat into my gut. Then, a dull boom, like something exploding in my mind. A massive yet incredibly gentle surge of spiritual energy rushes out like a dam breaking. From my tension, all of a sudden, I get startled. Quickly shut my eyes and silently chant a free beginner technique from the sect. Greenwood art, desperately guiding this energy through my meridians. My jumbled 5-element fake root, normally absorbing heaven and earth chi, is like filling a funnel with sand. Can't keep much. But now, the chi from this condensation pill is just too pure. Barely needs refining from me. It flows right into my channels on its own. 1 cycle, 2 cycles, 3 cycles. Each time the energy circles around, my meridians throb with a tearing pain. But right after that, comes a weirdly sweet relief. I clench my teeth tight, letting sweat soak through my rough linen shirt. I lost track of how long it took, till the surging spiritual energy inside finally gathered into a flood toward that invisible barrier that had blocked me for 3 whole years. I launched one final charge. A sharp crack sounded, a fragile noise only I could hear, like something sturdy shattered completely. The once narrow and dried up meridians widened instantly by more than double. A spiritual energy much denser than before flowed smooth inside my body. Chi refining layer 2. I snapped my eyes open. The dark thatch hut came into focus clearer than ever. I could even hear the autumn bugs chirping in the grass 30 feet outside. Strength filled every part of me. I clenched my fist, feeling like at this moment, one punch could kill a mortal tiger. Before I could savor the breakthrough joy, a strange rumble came from my stomach. Then, foul stench made me gag as it rose from my skin. I looked down. Under the moonlight, saw a layer of sticky black gunk oozing out. This was after breaking through, the acquired toxins and grime expelled from the body. I pinched my nose, hurried to push open the door, ran behind the house to the well, drew 3 full buckets of icy water, poured them from head to toe, finally washed off the filth. The cold well water stung my skin. I lifted my head, stared at the bright moon in the sky. My lips curled up uncontrollably into a wild grin. 3 years. I finally crossed that hurdle. Now at Chi refining layer 2. This year's sect exam I could pass easily. No more fear of being kicked down the mountain to live as a mortal. Back inside the hut, I looked at the 2 remaining condensing chi pills in the jade bottle, then touched the gray gourd hidden close to my chest. My eyes gradually turned deep and thoughtful. This was just the beginning. The secret of the gourd could never be exposed. But I needed more waste pills to feed it. The Qingyan market was in a valley 30 miles from the foot of the mountain, beyond the main proper shops. In the deepest secluded alleys of the market, there was a ghost market open only from dusk to midnight. There, they asked no background, no identity, trading purely on eyesight and guts. As soon as dusk fell, I tucked my hat brim low and slipped in with a few other shady wanderers hiding their faces. This spot had no bright moonstones, only a couple of pale green ghost flames flickering on both sides of the path. Most of the merchants lining the stalls wore dark robe, with masks, not even a single shout to hawk their goods. If something caught their eye, they just sent a whisper or gestured with their hands. The vibe was so suffocating it could choke you. I clutched that jade vial tight, my palms drenched in sweat. I wandered the ghost market a full 3 laps before stopping at a corner stall. The seller was a big guy sporting a demon mask. On a ragged cloth lay a few broken magical tools, and a black clay jar sealed with a strip. The jar was half open, letting out a familiar sharp burn smell. It was waste pills. Judging by the amount, it had to be at least 20 or 30 grams. I fought to keep my racing heart steady, deliberately pinched my throat, and asked him in a hoarse, low voice, "How much for this jar of junk?" An early Qi cultivator messed up the batch, ruined the furnace of gathering pills. Even though they're dots, they still brush against some spiritual herbs. 2 low-grade spirit stones and they're yours. 2 low-grade stones for a jar of poison that could kill you. This seller was literally robbing me. But instead of getting mad at the waste pills, I actually breathed a quiet sigh of relief. I wasn't scared of him asking for the moon. I was scared he wouldn't sell. I didn't pull out cash right away. Instead, I fished out that jade bottle with 2 medium-quality condensing pills. Poured one into my palm, flashed it fast in front of the seller, then tucked it back into the bottle. "I won't give you stones. This condensing pill for your jar of duds, plus a regular spell booklet." I lowered my voice, putting on an impatient act. The seller's look shifted instantly. Even just a glance, the pure spirit energy and shine on that pill was impossible to fake in a place like the black market. A pill that quality could fetch at least 5 low-grade stones, and it was scarce on the market. Deal. The seller agreed without a second thought, like he was scared I'd back out. He fumbled around his storage pouch and tossed me a tattered thread-bound book. "This is a messed up copy of the fireball technique and the concealment trick. Consider it a little bonus." I handed over the pills with one hand and shoved the black mud jar and torn book into my chest with the other. The moment the deal went down, I could feel at least 3 pairs of eyes burning into my back. Yeah, I was loaded now. Even just one single Qi pill was enough to make broke bottom feeders like me risk it all. My scalp started tingling instantly. I didn't dare carry a single extra one, and spun around to exit the ghost market. Once I got out of that place, I didn't dare head straight back to the set. Instead, I picked the graveyards and dense woods around the market with rough terrain to detour. As I walked, I crammed the concealment trick I just got into my brain, desperately trying to lower my breathing and energy signals. Just as I passed through a patch of short trees, a super faint muffled groan came from up ahead. I dropped flat into the rotting leaves, not daring to let out even a breath, peeking through the gaps in the bushes. Just a few dozen steps away, a flashy young cultivator was clutching his neck, gushing blood, and fell with pure shock in his eyes. Behind him stood a small, thin shadow, gripping a dagger still dripping red. I recognized that young guy. Back at the ghost market entrance, he had dropped big money on a top-tier flying sword, and was showing off proudly to his buddies. But now, he was just a body slowly going cold. The shadow smoothly snatched the young guy's storage pouch, and dumped a bottle of dissolving liquid onto the corpse, with some yellow smoke and a nasty stench. The body turned into a puddle of blood in just a few breaths. Not even a bone chip was left. The whole thing took less than half an incense stick. One living dude just vanished from the world like that. I bit down hard on my lip, forcing myself not to make a peep. Cold sweat dripped into my eye from my forehead, stinging like crazy. I didn't dare get up until that shadow was long gone. My legs felt like they were filled with lead, and my stomach was churning like a storm. This is the real world of cultivation, man. No warmth, no mercy at all. Just pure raw survival of the fittest. If you aren't strong enough, or even if you aren't careful enough, the next one turning into that puddle of blood will be you. I hugged the black mud jar tight against my chest, using the cover of night. I snuck back to the Greenwood Sex Herb Garden like a ghost. This whole night's experience, the events of this night was way more intense than the last 15 years of my life combined. But it was this very night that shattered the last bit of illusion I had about this cultivation world. I closed the door behind me, staring at the clay jar of failed pills and the grey gourd on the table. My eyes were determined like never before. I gotta get stronger. I have to survive by any means necessary, and then get even stronger. The next morning, back in my shack, I was just like always, lugging that heavy wooden bucket out to fetch water.
Hey, Wenwu, where were you last night partying? Your eyes are so dark like someone punched you. You can barely walk straight.
Senior brother Wang, you must be joking. I was training too late last night, trying to break through. Ended up not sleeping well at all. Same old, same old. I put on a fake smile. But secretly, I was quietly running the breathing technique I memorized last night. Even though this technique was just a fragment, super basic and rough, but it was more than enough to fake my current cultivation level. It suppressed all the Qi fluctuations from my second layer of Qi gathering. On the surface, I still look like that loser stuck at the peak of the first layer, about to get kicked out of the sect any day. As the saying goes, the tallest tree gets blown down first. After seeing those brutal fights in the black market where people killed for loot, I understood more than ever. how crucial it was to keep a low profile. During the day, I was the most hardworking, most unremarkable low-level spirit farmer in Greenwood Sect. I carefully watered those plots of green snake grass. And when I used the Spirit J technique, I even worked harder than before, making it look like I was desperately struggling to pass the year-end test. Because only by seeming harmless and worthless could I survive longer in this cruel cultivation world. And at night, that broken shack with its locked doors and windows became my private little cultivation world. That black clay jar I traded a middle-grade spirit pill for was a treasure trove to me. It really held 32 failed pills of chi-gathering powder. Every clear night, I would take that dusty gourd and place it respectfully in the brightest moonlight, watching its surface shimmer with a silver glow, greedily absorbing the moonlight, and then slowly refining those failed pills, which stank of burnt and deadly fire poison, into ones with the fresh scent of herbs. Even top-grade chi-gathering pills. Every time I watch this scene, my heart is filled with this indescribable sense of security. In the cultivation world, they always talk about wealth partners, methods, and territory. And the word wealth is always at the top of the list. This grey gourd that turns trash into treasure is my foundation for survival, and even my biggest shot at aiming for the long life path. Now with this endless supply of pills, my cultivation is climbing at a pace that even freaks me out, steadily rising, from chi refining layer 2 early stage to mid stage and then late stage. Those meridian blockages that held me back for 3 whole years, under the constant wash of this pure medicinal power, have long become paper thin. Besides leveling up my cultivation every day, I pour all my remaining time and energy into that one untattered spellbook. Fireball spell. It's the most basic 5-star spell in the cultivation world, but it's the only attack I can rely on right now to avoid catching anyone's attention. Every night I sneak into an abandoned mine pit at the edge of the soul-severing woods to practice. When I first started, I could barely summon a flame the size of a bean on my fingertip, so weak it couldn't even light a dry twig. But I never got discouraged. My spiritual root is trash and my talents down. The only thing I can rely on is pushing through with sheer grit. I told myself, if once doesn't work, practice 10 times. If 10 don't work, practice 100 times. When my spiritual energy ran dry, I'd swallow a refined energy pill, meditate to recover, then keep going. Just like that. Until one night, 3 months later. Go. A fireball as big as an adult's fist, cherry red with a hint of deep blue, roared straight out of my palm, kicking up a scorching wave of heat, smashing hard into the rock wall 30 feet ahead. With a dull thunderous boom, debris flew everywhere. That tough rock wall got blasted into a chart-deep crater by me. Even the stones around the crater were melted into glassy crystals by the insane heat. Panting, I leaned against the rock wall, staring at my own hands, my eyes sparkling with uncontrollable excitement. This power already surpassed the fireball of an average beginner chi cultivator. If I caught someone off guard and hit a fellow cultivator of the same level unprepared, even if they didn't die, they'd be badly hurt. It's passed in a dull cycle of farming by day and training hard in secret by night. My cultivation quietly reached the threshold of chi layer 3. Before I knew it, deep winter arrived. Cold wind swept through heavy snow, covering all the peaks of Greenwood Sect. And the annual year-end exam that decides the fate of countless low-level spirit farmers finally came. Snow blocked the mountains, but the outer sect square was packed with people. Today was the big exam once every 3 years, the day that decides our survival as bottom-tier spirit farmers. Cold wind howled, pellets of ice hitting faces hard, but colder than the wind was the suffocating tension in the square. One day, Qi Layer 2, the spiritual herbs are checked in and pass. Pass. Layer Go, peak of Qi refinement Layer 1. No breakthrough. Stripped of spirit farmer status. Immediately sent down the mountain. Every time those words sent down the mountain are heard, you can bet someone breaks down into that hopeless wailing, and then gets dragged away like a dead dog by the law enforcement disciples. The brutal and bloody truth of the cultivation world is shown in full force in that moment. Next, Wenwu. The second I heard them call my name, I took a deep breath, rubbed my hands that were practically frozen stiff, and shuffled toward that testing stone with my head down. I pressed my palm against that ice-cold stone, and secretly pushed my energy with all my might, sucking in the powerful chi I had that was already knocking on the door of Layer 3, locked tight in the deepest part of my danqi, just letting out a tiny and pathetic trace, flowing through the meridian into the testing stone. The stone instantly lit up with a layer of weak gray light. Not too much or too little, just barely past the line marking Qi Refinement Layer 2. Wenwu barely makes it into Qi Refinement Layer 2. Spirit Herb Mountain River Pavilion passes. You got lucky. Get down. Hearing this, I let out a long sigh of relief, hastily putting on a grateful look like I just dodged a bullet, bowing repeatedly to the steward. Then I slipped back into the crowd. You lucky dog. Cashing in on that beginner's luck to break through at the last second. I just gave a simple smile, not bothering to respond, but inside I felt a chill. If I had revealed my layer 3 cultivation, it would have gotten the outer sec managers to look at me a bit differently, maybe snag some better treatment, but it would have totally exposed all the secrets I'm hiding. A 5-star fake spiritual root wastrel. How the hell could he cultivate so fast? I was just hoping to hurry back to that crummy wooden shack, keeping my grey gore safe, and wait out eternity in peace. But who would have guessed? The heavens just wouldn't let it happen. Right after the big test ended, when we lucky spirit farmers were just about to relax and scatter, a sharp and ear-splitting whoosh suddenly tore through the air, and an inner sect disciple standing on a flying sword boomed down onto the raised platform in the square. Elder's decree. The sect found a dying mini-realm called Mist Valley 800 lie behind the mountain. Chill grass grows in bunches along the valley edges and they need it bad. Every spirit farmer who passed today's big exam, plus all outer disciples below Chi refining level 3. Stay put right here and wait. You're all drafted to gather herbs in Mist Valley. 10 days straight, the whole square went dead silent. Then a restless buzz broke out and no one could hold back. Mist Valley, man. That place is a legendary death trap shrouded in poison fog all year round. Not only is it crawling with venomous bugs and savage beasts, roaming cultivators from other sects and rogue outlaws show up there all the time. And they want us dirt farmers who spend all day planting to go pick herbs there. This is basically throwing us in as cannon fodder for the real fighters. No one gets to refuse. Anyone who disobeys gets their cultivation crippled and killed on the spot. My heart sank deep down into my gut too. After all my careful planning to dodge being weeded out in the exam, I still couldn't escape the sect's dirty moves in the eyes of those high and mighty elders. Our lives probably aren't worth a single stalk of chill grass. But I didn't freak out one bit after seeing those kill and steal showdowns in the black market. My nerves are tough as steel wire now. I quietly slipped to the very edge of the crowd. My brain started racing through the tricks I still had up my sleeve. My cultivation is at Chi refining level 3. My spells include a fireball technique way stronger than others at my rank, and the spirit breathing art I used to keep a low profile, while the sect was getting the flying boats ready.
I used needing to pee as an excuse,
and ducked into a quiet corner as fast as I could. Then I quickly checked what I had hidden in my robe. The grey gourd. That's my lifeline I can never afford to lose. Plus 3 jade bottles. The first bottle holds 5 grams of refined top-grade Qi condensation pills. The key is they restore Qi fast. The second bottle has 2 blood clot pills, which I cooked up by messing around with some cheap healing herbs and that gourd. Their effect is surprisingly good. As for that third bottle, it holds just 1 pure peach black, with straight lines carved on it. Don't underestimate it. This is a top-notch poison pill I stumbled onto when I was refining flying pills with the gourd. Not only didn't it get a fire poison washed out, but it concentrated all the junk and miasma toxins to the max. I tested it on a wild rabbit in the back hills before. Just a teensy bit on it, and that rabbit turned into a puddle of stinking blood in 3 breaths. That's my ultimate last-ditch ace. After I dragged through half an hour, a huge wooden flying boat hovered right above the square. Me and hundreds of ghost pale spirit farmers were all shoved onto that boat. I made sure to find the most unnoticeable corner and sat down cross-legged, pulled my white hood down low, closed my eyes. I tried to make myself as invisible as possible. Then Africa gives a violent shake, and we're tossed straight up into the air, racing through the sky towards some unknown brother.
the icy wind roars in my ears.
I gripped the poison pill hidden in my sleeve tightly. My eyes beneath the hood's shadow grow cold. Someone wants me dead. That's not happening without a fight. Africa slams down hard at the outskirts of Fog Valley. The hatch swings open. A stench of rotting fish mixed with grey fog bursts right in. 10 days later, bring back 30 cold shade herbs and meet here. If you fall short, stay in the valley as plant fertilizer. Get out. We crop workers are nothing but chaff driven by wind. We stumble and stagger into the thick fog. As soon as my feet hit the ground, without another word, I start circulating my energy. Breathing technique. This guy was moving like a slippery eel. Slipped into waist-high bushes in a flash, and ditched the crowd quick in this lawless hellhole. The scariest things aren't usually the poison bugs or monster beasts. It's your own sect brothers who've gone bloodthirsty right next to you, tagging along with the main group like a dumb sheep. You're basically just cannon fodder for those high-level outer disciples. Inside this misty valley, you can barely see a thing ahead. Even your spiritual sense is locked within a dozen feet around. I stepped carefully on the mushy, rotten leaves, gripping that rusty bone-cleaving knife like my life depended on it. For the first 3 days, while being extra cautious than everyone else, I dodged 2 early-stage gathering demon wolves. And in a few damp, dark rock crevices, I managed to snag 12 frost-covered cold shadow herbs. At this rate, collecting 30 in 10 days wouldn't be a problem. But who'd have thought? On the evening of the 4th day, things still went sideways. I was lying by a muddy pond, locked onto a perfect cold shadow herb, just about to grab it. And then, a super risky snap of a twig came from behind my back. Every hair on my body stood on end in an instant. Without a second thought, I didn't even dare to look back. just did a clumsy roll to the side. A cyan blade barely grazed past the top of my head, slammed hard into the spot I'd been lying, and together with the muddy ground and that herb, it carved out a deep gash. A measly second-layer chi-gathering farming waste. Got some quick reflexes, though. From the haze, two figures strolled out slowly. The left one was a big bald dude, twirling a few talismans in his hand. The right one had a scarred face, with faint cyan wind energy still swirling at his fingertips. It was Jason. Judging by the blood scent, they weren't even trying to hide. The number of people they killed in this valley had to be significant. I quickly checked their cultivation levels. The bald guy was third-layer chi-gathering. The scarred face was peak second-layer chi-gathering. I purposely made my voice sound all shaky and trembling. Fellow cultivators, I'm just an outer sect farming boy. All I got is these few cold shadow herbs I found earlier. Take them all, just spare my measly life, okay? Talking as I spoke, my body started shaking along. I even stepped back on purpose, then thudded half-collapsed onto a dead log. I'll just kill you. Your stuff's still mine either way. If you want to blame someone, blame your bad luck. Before the words even finished, that Scarface raised his hand and sent another blade straight for my neck. I let out a hopeless scream with all I had. Dodged the blade by rolling and scrambling, but the left arm still got caught in the backlash. It tore a deep gash wide enough to see bone. Blood instantly soaked through my sleeve. The pain made me gasp cold air, but I didn't dare slow down my hands one bit. I quickly pulled out the jade bottle of blood-stop pills from my pocket and swallowed one directly on the left arm's wound. In just 3 breaths, it actually stopped bleeding. Watch out, bro. This kid has high-grade pills on him. Scarface's eyes lit right up. His greedy look was written all over his face. He directly pulled out his magic sword and charged at me. Baldy heard that and quickened his pace too. Those two flanked me from left and right without even guarding. Their minds were dead set on killing me fast and looting my gear. In their eyes, a scared and shaken level 2 chi refining waste like me was no different from fish on a chopping board. I've been waiting for you guys to underestimate me. Right when Scarface's sword was about to pierce my heart, my pretended terrified eyes instantly went dead cold like a pool of still water. I swung my right hand up fast. Didn't use any spell, just flicked my fingers once. A pitch-black stinky medicine pill, like it had eyes, shot straight at Scarface's face, leading the charge. What kind of hidden weapon? Boom. The moment that poison pill touched his blade, it exploded instantly, turning directly into a purple-black poison mist. Scarface stumbled back again and again, even tossing his sword aside, clutching his face tightly. In just 2 breaths, he crashed to the ground with a thud, melted right into a puddle of stinky goo. Second brother, Baldy behind him, looked like his eyes were about to pop out. The forward momentum came to a screeching halt. Look at me with those eyes. From looking down on him to being completely terrified. He was probably thinking, what the hell is this nonsense, poison? Now, it's your turn. I won't hold back anymore. At the 3rd level of chi refining, there was that fierce surge of spiritual energy. You let it all out without holding anything back. Go. The bald man hurriedly slapped a protection charm onto himself, in front of his compressed form that has pierced through countless fireballs time and again. It's like it's made of paper. In a flash, he was torn to pieces. Boom! Flames shooting up into the sky. The bald guy didn't even let out a single whimper. He was blasted into a charred pile of ash by that fireball, heavily slammed into a tree trunk a few meters away. Totally finished off for real. The valley fell back into a deadly silence. All that's left is the crackling sound of branches burning. This is the first time I've actually crossed the line and taken a life, you know. Live to see another day. I took a cautious look around the vicinity. Are you sure no one else has shown up? Hurry up and force yourself to shuffle over to that charred body. He yanked the pouch off his belt with practiced ease. He pulled out the dissolving liquid from his pocket. She cleaned up the body spotless, leaving no trace behind. Finishing this, I wiped the cold sweat and muddy grime off my face. Without a backward glance, he plunged headfirst into the thickening mist. Gotta get out of here fast. Blown to pieces. It exploded. Bottleneck him. Just leave a gap for ventilation. Finally managed to make it down alive. This top-tier blood-making pill is seriously potent. Such an overbearing move. Arson and murder bring gold belts. The ancients really didn't lie to me. Let me die. I made a fortune. Over 70 low-grade spirit stones. I've been toiling as a low-level spirit farmer my whole life and still can't save up that much. Mithril shield. Good stuff. And a few more protective charms. This flying sword. At least it's a mid-tier magic tool. And also a jade box. Look at all these frostweed packed in here. A full 45 plants, plus my own 12 plants. The mission was way past done from the start. No wonder so many cultivators choose not to stick to a quiet life. You insist on becoming a rogue cultivator. After 3 long years of hard work in the fields, it's way faster to just off a couple of people in this valley than busting your back farming for 3 years. But this living on the edge gig ain't something you want to do long term. Play with fire long enough, you're bound to get burned. Today I got lucky. If I'd run into some dummy at mid-chi training, I'd be a puddle of blood by now. Spirit stones, spell talismans, dark iron shield, flying sword. Gotta stash all of it. Just keep 30 chill bloom plants. Hand over one more and I'm asking for trouble. Keep a low profile. Real low. For the next 6 days, I'm gonna dig in here and not budge. Let them fight it out there. Ain't nobody dragging me out. Use these days to lock in my cultivation level and get that dark iron shield fully prepped. That's another chip on the table for staying alive. Over 500 came in. Now less than 300 left. Nobody gives a damn who got killed. In the world of cultivation, human life is the cheapest resource out there. Turning in a mission. Playing the fool is something I'm good at too. That supervisor probably can't wrap his head around how a nobody like me managed to scrape by the mission alive. Next. 3 crappy rocks like that you toss to a beggar. I couldn't care less. Right now I've got over 100 spirit stones in my pouch, 2 magic artifacts, and of course my biggest ace, the Grey Gourd. This trip to the Misty Valley really raked in the big bucks. Just get back to that dump of a hut, and I can lock myself away for training, with all these waste pills and spirit stones backing me up. Mid-chi training is a done deal. Finally back to this drafty rat hole. Lean my back against the grass wall. After 10 days of nerves stretched tight in the Misty Valley, I can finally let it all go. The mildew smell in here feels more comforting right now than immortality pills, but I still gotta stay on guard. Even in my own crib, I can't let my guard down. Keep the dark iron shield close. From here on out, I'm back to being that honest low-level farm boy, watering the fields and putting in work every day. Listening to Fat One blather on. This time at Mist Valley, there's a ton of bodies. Everyone's busy divvying up turf. No one's gonna spare a glance at a nobody like me. Over 100 low-grade spirit stones. I stashed the whole stash under my bed. Not a single one extra. A broke farmer like me, suddenly throwing cash around like that, would be like asking for trouble. It's like begging to die young. Money's no good if you're not alive to spend it. First things first, I need to extract the flavor. That jar of trash pills. It's my lifeline now. With this gourd in hand, the top-tier gathering mist pills that everyone's fighting over, I can treat like candy. Breaking through to the 4th chi layer. It's a done deal. Only been back 3 months. 2 gathering mist pills down. And that barrier shattered. 4th chi layer. My senses are way sharper now. My spirit sense sweeps over 30 feet. 30 feet out. I can even see that stray cat getting soaked in the rain clear as day. Mid-chi layer. Finally out of the bottom rung mud pit. But that's still not close to enough. Keep grinding. This whole year, I haven't stepped foot outside. No fence techniques. So I use the dumbest method. Just obsessing over that flying sword. Once, 4 times. 6 times. If one try doesn't cut it, I'll do 10,000. Early winter of the 2nd year. The trash pills are all gone. This is the last one. 5th chi layer. Let's break through. This spirit energy is way too intense. Hold it together. Go all out. Activate the heavenly ring. Spin it up. Shatter it. 5th chi layer. This power plus the flying sword and fireball technique. If I run into that Scarface crew again, I'll cut them down within 10 moves. Insect martial aura. 30 years ago, I couldn't even afford a low-grade pill. Now I finally have the capital to survive. Hiding in the herb garden growing won't make me a master. Basic pills are useless now. Gotta find a way to snag some higher tier stuff, even just to prep for that foundation building stage. No matter how wild the outside world gets, for this path to immortality, even I, Alfred, have to throw my hat in the ring.